Hey everybody, how we doing this fine Friday night? Coming to you not from Ironton tonight, but from behind the camera. I have a couple people with me tonight that want to tell us about an experience, and I wanted to talk with you all about it as well as them. So, for the moment, of course, as always, have to welcome American Pride, Ohio. How you doing tonight, Eugene?
Oh, I'm doing great, sir. Been a great week, great day, man. How about yourself?
Oh, you know me, I'm always fine as the fur on a frog. So I'm going to bring up our two guests today. I have with me Orange Cones and APIC Programmer. And guys, first of all, how are you doing tonight, Orange Cones?
Oh, hanging in there.
How about you, APIC?
Oh, I'm finer than frog's hair. That's pretty fine.
It is indeed, indeed. Um, if one of you want to try to give me a nutshell version of exactly what happened, and then we'll talk about the details that happened in between, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Give me an overview, beginning to end, of exactly what happened, and then we'll go through and start. Does that make sense? You got me?
Yeah, I'm gonna let APIC, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna let Orange Cones handle that, and then I'll handle the details that she wasn't here to, the phone conversations I had with our wonderful government.
Sounds good to me. Guys, what we have here is a problem with a particular governmental agency, branch of whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it seems to me that this happens in a lot of places, whether it's local all the way to federal. It just seems to happen a lot, and I really wanted you all's opinion. So listen, guys, listen close, and we'll be talking about it as we go. Orange Cones, if you would tell us what happened, that would be awesome.
Okay. Well, it started for me at this house that we purchased a little over a year ago, a year and December of a year ago. So year and 3 months, 4 months now. I was expecting a package that was coming, an Amazon package being shipped. I heard the mail Jeep truck thing that comes through coming by, and they were going to be delivering it. So I was out doing some gardening in the side yard. I have a service dog, and a lot of some people know that, but a lot of people don't. But I am actually disabled, and my service dog stays with me so that he can warn me so I don't before I pass out, so that I can take appropriate measures and prevent losing consciousness, basically. And he does that for me, coming on 8.5 years. So it's a lot of training that takes place. He's a little over 10 years old now. So the dog was with me, as he always is, outside working on trimming hedges and stuff in the side yard. We had a lot of overgrowth to clear out when we first moved here, but I wanted to make sure I got this package. Heard the truck coming. So I said, well, rather than have them come up to the door, because I'm in the side yard, I'll just go meet him at the mailbox. So I went to go toward the mailbox. The lady has my mail. She starts to hand me the mail. Then she goes behind her seat to get the box, and then screams at the top of her lungs, "Your dog's loose! Your dog's loose!" Well, yeah, he is, but he's 47 feet away at the end of the driveway, up close to the house, in a stay, which is where I left him. I didn't bring him to the street to meet the mailbox. I left him where I was gardening with my gardening tools. So she didn't give me the box, instead sped off down the road and skipped the rest of our cul-de-sac and left and just left the whole subdivision. I have no idea what was going on. So I really needed and wanted that package. It had live fish in it, so I wanted to not miss the package and have them wait overnight. I didn't get to the post office because the package wasn't there. That was on a Friday. That wasn't there Saturday. So the post office is closed, of course, on Sunday. Went down on Monday. They wouldn't let me come in the post office because I have a service dog. They said it has to be 20 pounds or less. I have to carry it in my arms. Otherwise, it's not a real service dog. Now, I don't know what other people know about dogs, but they don't have to be a particular breed to be a service dog of a certain size. But my dog is a Rottweiler. He's not a large Rottweiler like a lot of people see nowadays, but he does weigh 80, 85 pounds. So I'm not picking him up and holding him in my arms. And of course, he's not 20 pounds. So it took several days until I could get into the post office where I could get my package. Of course, the fish in the meantime have died. And I can't get a refund of that. I mean, I'm more upset that the fish died, but I can't get a refund of that from the seller because I wasn't able to get the package the day it was supposed to be delivered. So that was the beginnings of the story. But it took 4 different visits until they finally agreed and allowed to follow federal law that I'm allowed to be in there with my service dog. So ever since that day, they just have this retaliation against me. They're not going to come and deliver our mail now. They decided that.
Wait,
So let me ask a question. So when you walk in, I mean, I'm just trying to get an idea of what my work day might be like if I worked in a restaurant, a gas station, a government office, somewhere where the public might just generally walk in, where I mean, you see a blind person with their dog, you don't think much of it, right? A lot of people have dogs. It's becoming, more of a thing these days, I think. Um, so I assume that your dog isn't growling, barking at people, isn't tugging on the leash trying to get away from you to jump on kids or anything when you are out in public.
No, absolutely not. He's very well obedience trained. That was his first training he had to go through because he has to pay attention to what I need of him and not go to others. He doesn't look toward others. He doesn't seek attention from others. Someone could throw dog cookies on the floor and he'd step right over them and keep right on walking. He's done that in restaurants where there's food under the table where they didn't really sweep under the table and we sit down, and he'll circle around and find a place to lay down where he's not facing the food because he doesn't want to be tempted by food.
Smart guy, huh?
Well,
Loose cut says that you should get a he says you should get a service giraffe and see what they say about that.
I thought about a service manatee. I think that would be more obtrusive. So
There you go.
but Kim, I'm sorry, Orange Cones, did the police get called in order to get the dog into the building?
yes.
Did that event, they eventually, we had to resort to even law enforcement in order
Well, the post office called the police, and I'm not even sure. I don't think they do, but I don't think the local police has jurisdiction on the federal post office. But maybe they have a signed agreement for that. I don't know. But yes, they did call the police. I stood outside because I left to get away from the situation, and stood outside and waited for the police. The police came and told them, "Are you guys crazy? The You can no more tell someone with a service animal that they can't come in if the dog is behaving properly and he's at my side on a loose lead. He doesn't pull at all. If I stop and stand still for any length of time, he'll lay down by my feet. If I tell him to lay down, he'll lay down. They have those little places where you can sign paperwork, little desks, standing desks. I'll have him go under the standing desk and lay down so that nobody could possibly step on his feet or his tail. Because he has a tail and like a lot of Rottweilers. But he does what he's supposed to do. He's not there for playing games. He's not there to run around and act like a fool. He's just there to keep me safe.
So basically, what it is, are people apparently are terrified of the breed, not necessarily the dog. They obviously aren't smart enough to see what the dog is doing. I don't know. I see, now here's the thing. I don't know how many people out there. I grew up around dogs. I've always been around dogs, since I was a little tiny kid. There's always been dogs around before I was ever in the family. You know what I mean? And so it's easy for me to look at a dog and tell whether or not that dog is going to be a danger to me or not. You know what I mean? It really doesn't take much. If you understand dogs or animals at all in general, you'll know when one of them's angry with you and wants to hurt you and when they don't. I mean,
Exactly.
it seems easy to tell to me, but maybe if you've never really been around animals or you have one of those strange fears of dogs, that might make you a little over emotional. But I think if you calm down and pay attention, you'll be able to tell the difference. Anyway, that was my thought on it. That's why I asked if he was pulling on the leash and doing anything that like maybe an untrained dog might do that might make people fear his size. But obviously that isn't happening.
Absolutely not. And that's the one thing. I don't care if it's a service dog or just a pet dog. If you're going to bring it out in public where it's allowed to be, if it's, you go into a pet store or whatever, where you're allowed to bring a dog, it should be under your control. And if it's not socialized and it's snarling and growling and lunging at people or other dogs, do everybody a favor and leave it at home until you've learned to train it properly. because it doesn't take long, or it doesn't, I honestly, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes consistency to teach a dog what behavior is acceptable and what is not. And you don't have to be mean to a dog to teach it. My dog will follow me anywhere if I have a piece of cucumber in my pocket. That's it. That's his reward. At the end of a 2-hour-long walk where he's at my side, even off leash, he never would leave, because if he knows if he's good, he'll get his piece of cucumber. That's it. That's all he wants. That's what he works for. Crazy as it seems.
Well, whatever works. Thank God they have simple tastes, being dogs. So basically, this starts with the mail person not wanting to deliver the mail at the house, and then you end up going there, and they won't let you in with the dog.
Correct. And for about 4
Right.
days, or 4 days until they finally called the police, and then the police got involved. I didn't think I would call the police to say, "Hey, make them give me my mail." But
so the post office just said, "Look, we're not going to let you in with your dog. We're not going to bring your package out in the parking lot. We're not going to get anywhere near you and your dog, so you can't have your fucking mail." I mean, is that what they're saying?
pretty much.
Am I missing something? What
But that was the first set of instances. It went further. So pick up from there.
The next instance was probably about a month later. Again, we were expecting a package. Luckily, not any fish involved this time. I've instead chosen to pay more to have FedEx deliver them, because they at least will bring anything to the door that they're supposed to. So I got a different package coming from Amazon, whatever it was, something that was too large to fit into a mailbox. They were going to have to bring it. So to prevent any problems, the dog's left in the house, and I walk out the front door and go to the mailbox and wait for the mail. As soon as I come out and go wait for the mail, she goes down past our street, past our house, and then makes a U-turn, and then comes back to deliver mail on our side of the street. So as soon as I saw she went across the street, I knew I've got 3 or 4 houses, and then she'll come out to our street, so to our house. So I'll walk out there to meet her at the mailbox. She comes by the house. She has the mail in her hand and the box in her hand as she's driving toward our house, and then swerves out away from the mailbox and continues on and doesn't bring us our mail. Now the dog's not even with me. Dog is in the house behind a closed door. So that didn't make any sense. So I try to call the post office. They never answer the phone. So I have to drive up there. Of course, the package and mail isn't there because she's still out on her route. So I have to wait 2+ hours until I can get my mail. It's like, why? I don't understand the why of all of that. So I talked to the postmaster, and their answer is, well, she's afraid of dogs. Okay. I'm afraid of the sky falling on my head. That doesn't mean I don't go outside. And I know I used to have a neighbor who was a mail carrier. I know that they carry pepper spray or mace or whatever product that they can defend themselves should they meet an at-large dog running loose. But that's the whole thing, is this is not an at-large dog running loose. The dog is with me or left in the house. Or I left where I put him, period. But that's not good enough.
Would it have fixed the problem? I mean, I don't know. I don't work at a post office, right? But I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and if there's a small problem like that where it's like my mail carrier is scared of your dog, you have your dog right here at my post office. I'm like, well, fuck, I'll just reach you your package here. Was that not even an option? Could they not just reach you your damn package? Like,
Nope.
Even if they had to walk it outside or hand it,
Nope, nothing. I even asked her one of the future deliveries that was trying to just leave the package in the yard next to the box, and I said this from the porch of the house. Again, dog not in sight. And what's really hilarious is there's a dog that lives across the street from us. That's their side yard. They're on the corner, and their side yard is across the whole length of our front yard. I don't know if you know the breed, but it's an American bulldog. It's weighs more than my dog. He runs back and forth, or it's a girl dog. She runs back and forth along their fence line, barking and snarling and growling and throwing her entire weight. And she probably weighs 100 pounds, 120 pounds, big dog, solid muscle dog. and barks and snarls and throws herself at the fence. The guy has to go out into the yard every couple of days and fill in the holes that she digs, because she digs out and runs around in the neighborhood loose. Big white dog. It's like, you're not afraid of that dog, who very well could knock you down and take your feet off and your hands off, versus my dog, who is completely obedience trained, have actually won awards in obedience, and is not even out here. One time she said, well, I heard him barking, so I didn't want to bring the package up to the porch. Okay, he's in the house. He doesn't have a key to the front door. The deadbolt was thrown. So
I assume that your dog is not special. He has no thumbs, therefore he cannot turn a doorknob, right?
Correct. Yep, exactly.
Just
I
making sure.
had a cat that could open those lever doorknobs, but no, he doesn't, he doesn't have those abilities. And one time she said that she could hear him barking, which was hilarious because he wasn't even at home. He was at the groomer's getting his nails done. He wasn't even there.
But that's when she rolled up with someone else in the vehicle, correct?
No, that was the next instance. That's when the supervisor showed up here and said, well, we asked who she was. Some lady just came to our door, knocked on our door. It was like 9:00 in the morning. And I personally wasn't even out of bed yet, but I threw a robe on to see who was beating on our door. And it wasn't just like a little friendly knock, knock, knock or a doorbell. It was like a pounding on the door. So my thinking is, did someone just hit my car in the driveway? Is there something on fire? What's going on? So I run out there to see what's going on. And she said that she's just letting us know that they will no longer deliver mail anymore because of our dog. And the reason was the day before, the carrier had been here to deliver mail, and she actually delivered mail. She delivered our mail, and she, left the subdivision. It was about probably a good 20 minutes later. I went outside with my dog to go to the bathroom. Now, he at times has worn what we affectionately call a face hat, but it's a muzzle. It's like a basket muzzle, like the racing greyhounds wear when they're racing. But it has a plastic cup on the end so he doesn't chew and gnaw on a tumor that he has on his hip. We've had it removed 4 times, I think. It's always been precancerous, but not cancerous. But he's too old to go under anesthesia anymore. So I can't really do anything about taking it off again. And I don't really care that he has a tumor. Could care less. But if he starts itching and scratching and chewing on it, then, he opens himself up to getting infections. So when I can't watch him, I can't see where he is because he'll walk into the bushes and piddle around and do his business in the bushes. I'll put that on him so he can't, while he's out of sight, decide to turn around and chew on the tumor. So that set the carrier off because she saw him. She wasn't at our house. She saw him when she ran by to leave the subdivision. That means he was a vicious attack dog now.
Because she had seen him muzzled?
Because she saw him with his face hat on, yes, his muzzle on.
Okay, all right. So I assume that you would have reached out to the next available supervisor, climbed that chain of command to bitch about this particular incident to somebody, I assume at some point. Is there still more, or is that the final?
That's the final part of where I was the supervisor came the next day. I asked who she was because she's just someone just standing in my yard, or not even in my yard. She's standing at the street yelling at me to my front door, which that is a 50-something foot distance. So she's at the street yelling to me at the front door as I'm standing there in my bathrobe at the front door, telling me about that my dog is a vicious dog. And I don't know who she was. She wasn't dressed in anything that said that she was a post office person. So I said, who are you? And she says, my name is Supervisor. That's all you need to know.
So how did we get from that to the phone call from consumer affairs from the Raleigh district, where she left a voicemail on your phone and told you just capitulate and get rid of your dog.
I have no idea how that happened. I just got the voicemail. I was working at the
Okay,
time.
okay,
And I
hold on,
got a
hold on,
voicemail.
hold on, hold on. What now? Wait a minute. Consumer Affairs, and I assume this is a division of the post office to handle customer complaints or concerns,
Yes.
Yes.
right? So there's a division that generally deals with complaints. They leave a message saying that you should just say fuck it and get rid of your dog and we'll deliver your mail.
Euthanize
Yes.
your dog.
Euthanize your dog.
Yeah,
Yep.
they didn't ask us to get rid of the dog in the sense of hand the leash to Terry. They said kill the dog and then we'll bring your mail.
No, I assume that your pretty quick answer or response would have been like fuck you.
Oh,
Yeah.
it would have been, but you can't reach anyone at the post office. So that's where my part of the story
So,
picks up.
so tell me the story of how you go from trying to find someone to explain what happened, how bad you got screwed, and all the ridiculousness of the entire situation. Out of did you ever find anyone to listen? I guess you'll tell us.
No, this is not resolved. I thought it was. It was resolved in the most ridiculous way that is entirely possible, but it did not end up getting resolved. So here's the short version for me. I took that number from that goober that called my wife and left a wonderful message telling us to kill the dog and then they'll bring the mail. And I tried to call them back on that number. Uh, but that doesn't work. What happens is it's an outgoing message only, and then it says, hey, if you'd like to talk to us, leave your name and number, and we'll call you back. That number, in case anyone's interested in dialing it, is 919-420-5230, and that is a Raleigh, North Carolina number.
And
Uh,
who is that supposed to be?
that's the Consumer Affairs phone number,
Okay,
turns
that's the
out.
local district
That's
consumer affairs.
correct, but that's the number they use to call out to us.
Okay,
If you try to
okay,
call into it, you just leave a message.
gotcha.
So I grew up from, the early 80s, and we had movies like Hackers and things like that, and very the low tech that we would laugh about today was high tech back then. And there was a term called freaking the phone system. And basically, if you get a phone number from a company, you can dial the number back, but do one digit less. So let's say we dialed 919 and then you find out that phone number is not inside the company. So you've reached the bottom of the list. So then you try one number above. So you dial the 31 and you get somebody else in the company in a mailroom. So then you try 32 and you get the janitor. You so on and so forth until you get to someone executive that's not willing to take your call, but suddenly you're on his phone. And you perform things like that when you can't get them to come to the phone like honest people. You don't resort to freaking the phone system just because you want to dial 10,000 numbers and irritate 10,000 people. You do it because when you call the regular number and you say, hey, I need to talk to Larry Smith, he called me and said a bunch of crap on my phone, they won't come to the phone. They're chicken poop. So I resorted to that technique for our government. I dialed through, uh, I believe it was over 100 numbers. Out of that, the numbers are all postal. Out of those postal numbers, most of them go to voicemail is full. Then there's a large number of them that they just disconnect automatically. There are several fax numbers, some numbers that auto disconnect after a few rings. I reached package routing. And then I managed to hit a gentleman in the package routing, and he referred me to customer relations. I didn't even know the post office had customer relations. I know they have customer service, but they do. They have a manager of customer relations who in Raleigh, her name is Melinda Hiltbrunner, and her number 919-420-5148. She didn't answer, but everyone said she would be willing to listen and help. she's she's not ever called back. Then her supervisor is at number 5147. Also would never call back. Uh, and then I found they actually have a dispatch area that directly talks to the carriers while they're in the field. Uh, and I found the postmaster's number, 5147. Now, this isn't the postmaster for the city I live in, it's for the district. That postmaster, again, wouldn't come to the phone, leave a message. There's a backdoor number for that postmaster, a second number. Also, leave a message, won't call you back. At which point, I had dialed through all the way down from 919-420-5104 all the way through to 5236 before I got sick of dialing numbers. And then I looked it up online and I decided to go straight to Washington, D.C. Well, first of all, let me back that up. First of all, they told me to go to my congressman. Why would I need to call my congressman to get the mail in my mailbox? I thought that was a little googie, but okay, fine. I'm at the point where I really just don't feel like I have any other option. So I called the congressman. Believe it or not, there is a liaison between the U.S. Post Office and the consumers at the congressional level. If you have complained high enough and far enough that you're at your congressman's office, the post office in the back end calls that a congressional escalation. So when they get one of those, that tends to get the wheels moving because they're worried now that you're going to make a big enough stink that they might have to do their job. So I called the congressman's office. He put me through to that liaison who calls herself a USPS caseworker. And all I got was a first name, and I honestly didn't write it down, so I just don't know who she was. But I got that through the congressman's office. And she basically said, well, it's nice that you can tell me what happened, but it doesn't count unless it's written down. So you need to write a letter to your congressman and mail it through the post office. At which point I realized, yeah, at that point I realized, yeah, that's just, I might as well just piss in my hand and wait for something to happen. So I called Washington, D.C. They have a main number, 202-268-2284, I believe. Here's the interesting thing. You only get 2 tries to call that number, folks. You'll call it one time, you're going to get a very unhappy, very rude operator. She's going to ask you to tell her exactly who you want to speak with. But the only name list you, as a person in the public, are allowed to view is on their website. And off that list is 10 years old. So when it says, hey, you want to call, Joe Mackey retired 10 years ago. The only names you're allowed to give are what's on the public list. And guess what? They don't work there. And as soon as you give them one of those names, they get mad and they disconnect you. Imagine that. Your government, when you call them up and say you want to talk to somebody, they just hang up on you. When you call back the second time, she will say, "Oh, you again?" And the line will go dead. And the next time you call, it'll tell you you've dialed a disconnected number. So I called my phone company because I know it's not a disconnected number. I just called it and spoke to somebody. It didn't get disconnected for no pay right then, right? Government paid their phone bill. Why am I getting a message that says the phone number is disconnected? Well, you get that because you've been blocked. The government can block you, the public, from calling them. Now imagine that, folks, because when the spammers are calling you to sell you whatever the hell they are selling from overseas, you can't block them. You can't push a button, disconnect them, and they're blocked and they can't call back. But our government has that button. Why does the government have something that can disconnect them from being bothered by the citizenry, and we can't even have that to stop the onslaught of phone fraud going on in America? If they had released that button even once, we wouldn't have the problems we have today on the phone systems. So she disconnected me, she blocked me, but I'm not an idiot. I have a Google number. I called him from my Google number, and I got through to a just as grumpy gentleman. But I said, "Look, I don't know the guy's name. I want to talk to him by his office. I want to talk to the deputy postmaster." And he tried to connect me, didn't work. I had to call back, got the rude lady. They blocked that number. I got another number. I dialed in again. I got the guy. I told him I wanted to talk to the Senior Vice President of Operations. I picked that title because it was middle of the page on the list of uh, names that are not accurate. But I said I want them by title. So they connected me. I got a female. I don't remember her name either, but she was very unhappy that a member of the public had gotten through all of the battering rams to get to her door. So she listened for a few seconds to what I had to say. And then she said, "Look, somebody will call you back. Give me your name, your number, and I will make sure someone will call you back and get this resolved." I said, "Great." So a couple hours goes by, and the postmaster, the very postmaster who had told Orange Cones that she could not enter the building with her dog, is the one that called. And she called back to tell me that they were willing to work out a deal if I would just stop escalating. They did not want me to escalate anymore. Well, imagine that. So it worked, right? They're going to work a deal. We're finally through it. Well, her name is Tricia, this postmaster here in Wilson County. And this postmaster's idea of working out a deal is that Orange Cones can spend an ungodly amount of money to buy a special mailbox. This mailbox is made for dropping off packages for corporations. It's a giant box. I'm sure some of you have seen them, and they're able to hold the largest size of those uh, boxes that they give to companies. They give them 3 or 4 sizes free, and whatever you put in it, everything ships for one price. Whatever that largest size box is, that's the size of this mailbox, and it can stack maybe 2 or 3 of them in there. And so what they wanted Kimmy to do is buy this corporate mailbox, install it in our yard, and then they would be willing to chuck our crap in that box. But if anything that they were going to deliver did not fit in that box, they would then take it back to the mailbox, and they promise that it will be delivered that same day before close of business, which is unusual because our postal carrier gets here sometime between 5 o'clock and 6. So 5 o'clock in the evening, they're going to take this box, they're going to take it back to the post office, and then someone else is going to drive it back out to my house and deliver it 6, 7 o'clock at night. And I called bullshit on that. And I said, nah, it doesn't sound like that's really what's going to happen. But my question is, why would a handicapped person have to pay hundreds of dollars extra to put in this magic mailbox? Isn't that separating us out from the rest of the public? Because not every other dog owner in the entire public is being forced to buy this magic box. So that kind of got to him, and I said, I think, that's a violation of ADA, and if you force me to buy the box, I might have grounds to sue you. I'm not sure, but I'll have a lawyer check. So then they said, well, wait a minute. All right, we'll buy the box for you. You just have to install it. And I said, what part of handicap didn't get through your thick skull? My wife isn't going to be out there pouring concrete, setting in mailboxes in the middle of our yard. She's handicapped. She's not going to do that. They said, oh, well, I guess we could pay to have it installed. Okay, so you're going to supply some kind of magic mailbox. You're going to install it, and then you're going to deliver my mail. But if something's too big to fit in the box, I'm going to have to wait while you find a driver willing to drop it off at my house. But you're going to do that all the same day. I don't like this plan. Just being an honest human being, I think you're singling us out as a disabled person. I might as well put up a banner over my home, the size of an Olympic size flag that says disabled person here. You are definitely singling us out and treating us different from any other member of the public. But I will abide by this plan. Do it. Everything would have been fine. The very next day, I got a call back from one of the many numbers I had tried the day before, the hundreds of numbers. One of them didn't identify, called me back, and told me that I needed to be expecting a call from, again, Consumer Affairs, from my local district. I said, okay, thank you. I was working. They called and interrupted my workday to tell me to stand by for a phone call from my local regional Consumer Affairs. It's like having somebody call you and tell you the president is going to call in a minute. Be ready to answer your phone. So this twiddle digit, Melissa, called from, believe it or not, 919-420-5230. And she just wanted us to know. They wanted to impress on us. The post office does not have to deliver mail to any citizen. They are not obligated to do that. And if at any time they feel like there's any difficulty, they don't have to deliver your mail. They will take it to the local post office and you can come pick it up. No more deliveries to your house. It's on you to figure out how to get your mail. If she had kept her mouth shut, I would have taken their little deal and shut up. But because she wanted to impress on me how important it was that they were going out of their way to be super nice to us, it pissed me. Honestly, let's just put it the way it is. It pissed me the fuck off. And I wasn't willing to put up with that horse shit behavior from a government fucking agency that we paid them for postage to do their job. Then when postage wasn't enough money, they collected tax money. And now they're getting money at all ends and they're fucking me. So I called the OIG and I left a message, which is the Inspector General's office. I left a message for fraud and it's called it's a misbehavior. The behavior is not within the standard guidelines of the Postal Service. Then I got a call back from another lady who stated her title, again, Consumer Affairs, and they wanted to let me know they will not be delivering my mail, and that she wanted to know specifically when exactly it was that our dog bit the carrier, and why have we not turned over our dog to the government because it was an attack dog who bit someone. When the fuck did my dog ever bite someone from behind a locked door? These people are crazy. They're spinning whatever story they want, but they want us, the citizenry, to know they don't have to bring us mail at all. All of us can just traipse the fuck down there and pick up our mail like real adults because they don't have to deliver it and they don't have to put up with our shit, and don't you dare argue with them.
You know, I want to say something. A lot of people wonder whether, it's talked about a lot on other channels, whether or not the post office is a federal government entity or government owned or operated, or is it more of a private type business, since they claim not to receive any help from the government, that they sell their own products, which is what keeps them going. I want to mention one of their products that kind of strikes me as funny. You go buy like a stamp, are they still 50 cents? I haven't mailed a letter in a while, but I think they're 50 cents. You go buy a stamp for 50 cents and you send a letter, right? But it's not a guarantee that fucking letter will get there unless you pay like $2.50. If you pay $2.50, they'll guarantee you and make sure that it gets there. However, if you pay 50 cents, it's a fucking crapshoot. Does that not sound like a fraud deal? Like, look, I'm going to do the same fucking job either way, but if you pay me extra, I'll make damn sure I do my job. What the fuck is that? I mean, how fucking outright rake me for more money can you say that? Why don't you just charge everybody $2.50 to deliver the fucking mail? You know what I mean? If that's what it takes to get the job done, don't like offer me a cheap way that like you don't have to do your fucking job if you know what I mean? But anyway, that's the kind of entity that we're dealing with. But whether or not it is owned by the people, it absolutely fucking is. The reason is because the federal government does not have the ability to spin off its own entities and what's owned and operated, owned by we the people. They can't just spin it off into a private business. That's not how that shit works. And they hold the fucking monopoly. They won't allow anyone else to carry the mail. Is that not right?
No, they will not allow anyone to carry regular
Right.
mail. Now you can open up a competition on packages, hence
Right.
the what can Brown not deliver for you, or what can Brown break and dump in your yard like a bunch of shit. Then we even let the Germans in with don't handle large packages. DHL. They're delighted to send your shit to the wrong city and you figure out how the fuck to get it from there. Yeah, they've allowed some competition in packages because they're inept along with everyone else. But you cannot do mail that way. There is no other entity for mail.
Right.
But
So,
you're
you
not
know, and
entitled to mail. It's not a right, it's a privilege. And they can
I
take it
wonder,
away at any time.
well, they kind of act like every other right we have is that too. I hear a lot of people say that driving is a privilege, and I always have to explain to them that's the biggest load of horse shit I've ever heard. It's a fucking right because I've had to pay for it 15 ways to get it. I had to pay for that many different ways to to be able to drive a fucking car down the road. It's not a goddamn privilege. I had to buy it. A privilege is given. Did anybody give anybody else the right to drive, or do you have to go do all the same shit I do? Take all the same tests, pay all the fucking money, license, insurance, car, all taxes, all that bullshit? Right. So this whole privilege thing, that is a service that is provided to the people um, by the government, or originally was. Whatever they're trying to turn it into now. Either way, the problem is systemic in government. It doesn't really matter whether you're talking about local or all the way up to federal. You see the same kind of crap. You've seen it in police departments, and I'm not talking necessarily about our local ones. You just know that the police a lot they investigate themselves and don't find that they did shit wrong, even though the rest of us watch the body cam and go, "What the hell happened here?" You know what I mean? You
Yep.
see this problem in government all the time. You know, any of those positions of power where they just tend to, for some reason, you're just too much of a goddamn inconvenience today, and fuck you, and we'll make sure that no one cares. And as you go up the chain, you find that they were right. No one gives a shit. It's not that important. You're just some fucking person, some Joe Blow, and your tiny bit of the tax money we get, you're not important enough for us to even give a shit of your name. Does
Well,
that not seem to be how you feel they did you?
oh, I do. But here's an interesting tidbit. There needs to be some spotlight on this, right? So let's take a crazy scenario. A man with, well, let's change it. A transgendered person with a disability. Uh, let's say they're blind and they have to have a service animal. If this person were to go to the post office and not the government, but the next guy in line robs him, the news back in the day would carry a story like that. They would be delighted to hear about the tragedy of this person, and they would make a giant case out of the gendering, the poor blind handicapped person got robbed, uh, beaten and robbed, whatever. They would make it as big as they could. You know how the news handles things like that now? You send an email to a dead letter office and nobody says anything ever. If you call a news station and you manage to get to the news desk, like, oh, I don't know, WNCN, which is CBS News, uh, here in Raleigh, say, 919-836-1717. They decide that's not a story because it's about our federal government. It puts them in a bad light, and they cannot clear that with the media department at the government post office. So, because the media department of the post office says, oh, you're not going to say anything bad about us, you idiots, then we, the people, are not allowed to have a voice in our news. It's not news, and they will not cover it, and they will not tell your story. Write your email, write your letter, write your congressman, go fuck off. Here we are again. We're voiceless. Media is absolutely powerless. They won't stand up. Not for you. They'll stand up for the government. They'll tell some great story about all these fake service dogs are eating mailmen for breakfast every day, and we should all be lucky that they still deliver mail. but they won't tell your story. You can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, whenever you hear it on the local media, it's neither rain nor sleet nor snow, and they're telling you, well, neither rain nor sleet nor snow, but that fucking dog, you can get it the hell out of here. We won't do it over the dog.
Right. That's where we're at right now. So the
Neither
media
rain,
has to be us. We
neither
have
rain nor sleet nor snow better stop you from coming to the post office, for we may not bring it to your damn house.
well put. But we have to be the media. We have to ring the bells. We have to
Right.
call these people day in and day out relentlessly. Be nice. Kill them with kindness. Be nice. Be professional. Look into every single bit of public information. FOIA request them to death. Do it the right way and ring every fucking bell. When you call the main number in Washington, D.C. to the U.S. Postal Service and they fucking block you, what are they doing? They don't want to hear from citizenry, but they are responsible to citizenry, and we need to hold their feet to that fire. Keep calling. 1-888-877-7644. That's the Office of the Inspector General. They haven't gotten off their ass yet. And again,
You know,
202.
you think at some point somebody would look at that carrier and say, look, if you're not going to deliver the fucking mail, you no longer have a job. We have Joe over here that wants a job. He said he'll deliver the fucking package.
Oh, well, we can't do that because then we're shaming them for their fear of animals. That it was all about carrier safety. Carrier safety is more important than the job.
Well, I guess to a point I understand. I get that everybody, but they're no different than us. Whenever I go out in public, or I'm even on my own private property, I always want to be safe, right? So everybody wants to be safe. However, when you enter public, that comes with a certain, you're giving up a certain amount of safety as compared to staying at home in the house, right? Anytime you're around other people, there's always more of a chance of something happening,
Well,
whether it be a dog, another person, some crazy shit, a car accident, right? Anything can happen. And, I mean, you kind of have to expect that. But if you
here's
have a
my question.
job, if you have a job that is going to put you on private property, knowing that there in almost every town USA, somebody's got a fucking dog, somebody's got a cat, sometimes they're mean, right? I mean, that's just normal shit. Everybody knows that, but to refuse to do your job just because there is a dog present, that seems,
Well,
yeah.
here's my question, and I literally asked this of the consumer affairs person who had the audacity to want to rub it in my face that they had won and we had better just understand that they're not delivering our mail ever again. And this is after they cut a deal. That bitch called me back to tell me they weren't going to honor the deal, that it's our fault, so we need to go to the postal office every day at our expense. But anyway, while I had her on the phone, I asked this question. Okay, so it's all about the carrier safety, which is higher on the list than giving us what we paid for. I understand safety, I do. But let's look at this from a different angle. Being that debilitated by fear is in and of itself a disability. Now, I don't want to harm anyone over their having a disability. I am very respectful of that. I have a wife who has disabilities, and I certainly would never want to see someone treat her horrible because of that. And so I don't want to do that to someone else. It's just the way it works. So if they have a debilitating disability that they are terrified by the bark of a dog, not by the vision of the dog, not by the
And
dog
and wait a
chasing
minute,
you.
this dog's in the house, yes?
Oh
It's
yeah,
locked inside the house.
inside a home.
Okay, I wanted everybody to understand that this dog is not out in the yard barking at this carrier. This dog is inside the fucking house. She hears it barking from inside the house.
And it debilitates her. She absolutely is frozen in fear and cannot deliver the package. Okay, but let's take that to a different job. If she's looking for a job and she's that terrified of dogs, would she apply at a veterinarian's office to be the intake person? Would she go to school and study surgery so that she can operate on dogs? No, you would have some common fucking sense. And I am so tired of people telling me that common sense ain't so common. That's a bullshit excuse made up by little liberals to say they didn't want to pay attention in life. Come on, folks. If you're super terrified of dogs, you don't get a job at a vet. So if you're super terrified of dogs, you don't get a job as a postal carrier who is the person who goes into everybody who has dogs' yards. If you're that terrified, absolutely shut down by the bark of a dog, why is she not shut down by the dog diagonal from me who is lunging at her while she's out putting the packages in the mailbox?
So
Bullshit.
did they refuse to deliver any and all mail to your house?
We get nothing now. Absolutely nothing.
And how long have you lived there? How long have you been getting mail with? Because I know you've had the dog a while, yes,
We've been here a year and 4 months, and
and
we've
never
got
had a problem up
mail.
to this point, right?
We got mail for a year and 4 months, but it was hit or miss whenever this bitch wanted to deliver it. Anytime she could get away with it, she'd just drive by with the shit in the truck, laughing, flipping us the bird, and have a nice day.
Hmm.
But this isn't
Well,
targeted. This is because we have a vicious dog who she told somebody at her office bit her. And it's a terrible, vicious dog because it's wearing a muzzle and it barks from inside the locked house. This is a horrible, terrifying dog.
well, I know I'm scared to death of him already. Sounds awful, barking at me from inside the house. Who would have thought?
Orange, you're on mute when you're talking.
So the reason he has his little face hat on when he goes outside, that's what we call it, is when you bend down and sniff, and because that's what dogs do, because they have to figure out where they're gonna do their business. He can't use the cone thing little cone of shame thing that he has, because he ends up jarring it into his neck, trying to reach down with his nose to the ground to sniff the ground. That's the reason that we use that. It's the fact that she happened to see it that one time. That's where all this came from. But it's just an excuse that she's given to everybody there at the post office and all the way up the chain, because she got called out that yes, she can deliver mail to us, and that yes, the dog can come in the post office with me. Ever since the police told them they can't exclude me from the post office with the dog, she's done everything she can to make things difficult for us. And that's the whole point of having the service dog, is that he helps me stay safe. It's no different than if it was a walker or a cane or oxygen that you're pulling on the little suitcase behind you. It's medical equipment legally. And she's never encountered the dog. The dog's never approached her. She saw the dog once standing on my driveway the first couple of weeks we were here. That's it. That's the one time she saw the dog. And then she saw the dog when he was out taking a poo in the front yard after she delivered our mail. That's it. She's never seen the dog since any other time.
One more caveat to this story that is why I felt so disinjusticed that I called, was willing to dial 100 numbers. When my wife went there with the service animal to sort this out with the postmaster, Tricia, uh, they told my wife once the police said you have to let the dog in, you can't keep her outside because she has a service animal. Uh, they did let her in. They told her she had to wait for a guy. I don't remember his name.
Mark.
Mark. Okay. So they told her to go stand in a corner and wait for Mark. And she stood there for about an hour before one of the people from the public came in, and they were a friend of the person behind the counter, and that's fine. But they got to yuckle chucking because it was hilariously funny that they had, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to tell it like it was. They had that white bitch standing in the corner waiting for an hour for a guy that ain't coming today. Is that where we're at as our
So,
federal government?
so they let her in and told her to stand over there and wait, and they was just going to fucking leave her there till she got tired and left.
Yep.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
whoever they said was coming, they damn well knew that they weren't coming and never intended on you speaking to anyone anyway.
They
Yes.
knew that.
And through this, they couldn't even just hand you your fucking mail over the counter.
Absolutely not.
You were in the fucking building, right there. They had to let you in.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't even hand you your fucking mail and tell you to fuck off.
No, they
And
started this war.
people wonder why people have been known in history to go, as they say, postal. To be really upset about some stuff. To have some stuff to say. Not necessarily shoot, kill. That's not what I'm talking about, guys. I ain't talking about blowing the place up or nothing. But I mean, how much can you take over dumb shit?
But it's time
When
for us to voice it. We're sick
right.
of this crap. We don't want it from our police. We don't want it from our federal government. We don't want it from our local government. It's time to stand up. Let's say no. When you see horse shit like this that's abusing people, do something. Take action as a collective. We're all one family. And if you're not getting your mail and you ask me to call, you're damn right I'm going to dial the number. It's not acceptable. And we can't let them get away with it. We can't accept it.
Well, you know what I say? I always say, united we stand. Remember that old patriotic idea? It seems
Amen.
like most people don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when I say that. They don't understand what it means to stand, and they sure as hell have no idea what it means to stand united. you know,
Well,
Hopefully, as we continue, at least in this chat on this channel, I think people are getting the idea. I think they understand what we're talking about, and that we're serious about it.
well, here's something else. Uh, Nobody's ever heard of this shit. They think I'm old and crazy. Well, okay, yeah.
You are old and
Yeah,
crazy, but that has
yeah,
nothing to do with
right.
this, right?
Yeah, right. But has anyone ever heard the term boycott? This doesn't work with your government. You can't boycott the fucking food stamps. You can't boycott it.
Too damn bad, huh?
You
Too
can't.
damn bad you can't just withhold their paycheck till they do their fucking job, huh?
Exactly. You can't boycott the VA. These are places where you have to use a different tactic. But there was a thing once called boycott, where you just don't do business with stupid. Amazon, you order a telescope and they send you a pencil, you just don't fucking buy from them. And you get 200 of your friends not to buy from them. And those 200 get 200 of their friends not to buy from them. Pretty soon they're like, fuck, we'll ship you any telescope you want. Just stop not buying from us.
It's what I said about gas prices. If you don't like them, if everybody got together, just seven straight days, if everybody got together and decided not to buy gas for 7 days, they'd be giving it away on the third day. They'd
I
be begging
can't
you to.
go to work.
They'd give you 10 gallons if you'll buy two.
Exactly. And that's the honest to God truth, people. It would work. You just stand up. You
At some
just
point, at
saying that.
some point, you may have to personally sacrifice a convenience in order to make a stand. If you're not willing to give up a convenience to ensure liberty, then I think maybe you're in the wrong group.
Yeah,
You know, that's always my idea.
if you won't make a sacrifice, then you don't deserve the liberty.
Right.
Liberty comes at a cost.
Yes, it does.
It has always come at a cost.
Unfortunately, in the past, it's always cost a lot of gallons of innocent blood to be spilled on the freedom tree in order to keep it alive. But see, the difference now is because so many spilled all that blood, we don't have to do that anymore. But it takes all of us united, not 30 or 40. It takes all of us. We have to learn to quit bickering between ourselves over who's black and white, gay and straight, man and woman. It don't fucking matter. We all need the same shit. It makes no difference who you are or where you live. We all need a way to be able to live, provide for ourselves, and have our stuff and take care of our friends and family without that person over there being able to influence it, right? So
Absolutely.
race isn't a fucking issue. Sexual orientation ain't no fucking issue. Sex is no issue. Hell, even age is no issue. These are American ideas. This is what patriotism is about. It's we the people. And if we don't learn how to stand together, hell, we're already divided. We can't fall any harder. We can only go up from here.
Unless we adopt that mindset, when your government tries to divide you, when your media tries to divide you by only reporting if you are one color or one gender, or don't define yourself within gender, or whatever it is, uh, they're picking one side of the story, and that is dividing our country. If we don't stand up and say those things don't matter, don't throw that into the mix, don't throw that into the picture, but do your job, do what we're asking you to do, or we'll bounce you the fuck out. You can't boycott the government, but you sure can call them. They do not like when we escalate. It didn't take 2 hours for them to call back when we escalated the call. They just had to call back and stick it in our face one more time that we were crap and that they were going to win. And that's the breaking point. We can't allow them this win. It's not going to win.
Hey, APIC, I have to step away for a quick second. You go right ahead with what you're saying, sir.
No, I would like to hear Orange with her opinion on this. She's the one that's the hardest impacted by this.
Well, for now, I just don't go outside. That's all I can do. And
Right,
then we hope we get mail if she deems that we're worthy of it that day.
Is that how we all want to live? We're so timid in our houses, we can't take our dogs out to go to the bathroom, and they got a crap on the floor, and we pick it up with a hanky because our government said so. Is that how we want to live? I won't live like that.
Hell no, I won't either. To be honest with you, I mean, like Terry was saying, we're out here to try to bring everybody together. I mean, united we stand, like Terry just said. Hell, we've already fallen.
I mean, I could see the carrier getting upset if the dog had been loose and unattended and approached her in any way. But that has never happened.
In all honesty, my mail carriers around here, there was like 100 dogs just on my block alone. And they will walk up to each and every dog and feed them snacks, pet them all the time. And they're always growling. They're always growling at the mail people. And they will just reach in their pocket, give them a snack, and that dog will come right up and sit down.
Yep.
I'm talking about pit bulls, rots, boxers, German shepherds, from the biggest dog to the smallest dog. I mean, the bitch just don't want to do her job.
Breed doesn't matter. They all eat.
Right.
You'd have to bring a cucumber for my dog. So, I mean, it's a funny thing. When I lived in when we lived back in Texas, there was an area that was we were allowed to run dogs off leash, and it was in a subdivision, but it was it's not fenced in any way, but you were allowed, as long as you stayed on the property, you were allowed, the dogs were allowed to be off leash there. So it is a several acres big property. So
Right.
I had walked my dog. We do a lot of training. I'd walked my dog, and we went over there, and he was sniffing around doing his doggy thing. He's going to go to the bathroom. Well, he sees a rabbit, and this is probably midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and he flushed a rabbit out of a bush, and he hauled butt to get that rabbit. That's dog's rabbit. But you know what I said to him? And I didn't think it would work. I had no thought that it would. I yelled to him down. Well, not his language is a different language, but the command for laying down. You know what that dog did? He laid down. He's
There you go. Good dog.
50, 60
That's a great dog.
away from me, and he just laid down. Now, did he take his eyes off that rabbit? No. I didn't trust that he would get up and turn around and come to me if I called him back to heel. I was still in shock that he'd laid down in the heat of a chase. They don't even pay attention. They're just doing instinct at that point. But he did. He laid down. He skidded to a halt. You'd think he was like one of those rodeo people where they do the barrel racing and they get to the end and they just skid to a stop. You'd think that he'd have done that. He just skid to a stop. Oh my goodness. She said down, I better do that. And he laid down, and I walked up to him. Didn't have a leash with me to hold him. I guess I could have grabbed his collar, but I walked up to him, told him to sit. He sat, told him to heel. He walked back with me, back to the sidewalk to the area. And now he kept looking behind him like, well, where's that rabbit? But he didn't chase it, and he didn't continue with it. But it's something that it's just, I trust that he will do what I say. He understands that there are consequences if he were to disobey, but he's a very willing dog. He wants to do his job. That's it. I mean, the hardest thing for him is, no, you're not going with me. You're going to have to stay here.
So this dog, of all the stray dogs in all the world, right? I went to go get some cat litter. I was supposed to pick up some cat litter from the local pet store. I even had a coupon because dog's name almost became Coupon. But I had a coupon to go get some cat litter. And I have been telling my wife for years that we were going to get a Doberman. That was the dog I wanted. Now, I have to be honest, folks. I really am an immature little boy, but I will always be that. If you've ever watched Magnum PI, I know for you younger people, Google it. It was a thing back in the day.
Google it, he said.
But there was two dogs, Zeus and Apollo, and they were beautiful Dobermans. Best in class for show, right? I mean, they're on a TV show. They're trained to act a certain way. Beautiful specimens of the Doberman breed. I wanted a Doberman, and I told my wife for years that we were going to get one. So I get down to the pet store to buy my cat litter, and they're having a dog rescue event. The agency.
Did you have a coupon for that, or was it only for the cat litter?
No, it was only for the cat litter. But the agency generally rescues at-risk Great Danes. But I'm out there and I'm not really looking for a Great Dane. So what's the harm? I can look at the puppies. I can pet the puppies. Nobody's going to care. I'm definitely not going to drag home a Great Dane. I don't need a horse. So I'm, in good shape. And I'll be damned if they didn't have one halfway between a Rottweiler, halfway between a Doberman, kind of sort of like an I don't know what dog. And so I took him for a walk. Now, this is in the heat of the day in Texas. He's been sitting out there for God knows how many hours. He's just as mellow, a good behaved dog as there ever was. And so I took the dog, I took him into the store and I took him around, bought him a pig's ear inside the pet store. And then I took him back to the agency and said, well, I don't think so. And I got in my little car and I went home and I broke the news to my wife that we had a new dog and that we needed to go pick him up. My wife is like, squeeze me? We're not
And
getting a dog.
and where's the cat litter?
He didn't buy it. We needed to go back and get the dog's bowl and his whatevers because he's coming home that night. And she's like, okay, I want to see this dog. So we get down there and she temperament tests him by giving him a treat and then taking it away to see if he bites her and all that. And seems okay. So we get the dog and we bring him home.
Walked him around the cats that were up for adoption too, because we had two of those. We needed to know if he was going to eat cats.
Right. And we had gone to the grocery store as well and gotten some food. So we went home, we put the groceries still in the sacks, but they were, dry goods. It wasn't going to hurt them. We put them on the living room floor. We put the dog inside of his crate that was made for a Great Dane. And we went back out to get some more supplies, dog food, whatever. By the time we came home, he had broken out of the Great Dane crate and had a poop-a-palooza through the house. There wasn't a surface he hadn't ruined. He had eaten all of the dry goods. He had eaten a box, not just eaten the couscous inside it. He ate the box. He got sick everywhere. Like I said, there wasn't a surface he didn't ruin. And he didn't have a crate to go in now because he had broken it. So we had to rush out, take him to a car wash to wash him down, and then go to a store and get a Kong crate, which was strong enough to hold him. Put him in that while we went into the grocery store again and rented a carpet cleaner and started trying to clean the mess. So he has no idea how much work we've gone through for this dog just to get him to day one. The next day, he got one of his toys or whatever, and he's having a good old time. And Orange Cones went to walk through the room, and he decided now's the time for me to show my fuzzy ass and tell her, I'm in charge around here. You better go ahead and find a corner that I let you be in. Big mistake. Even I know better than to mouth off to Orange Cones. I'm better trained than that. So he went to school right then. And he has been in school. We have taken him through puppy manners. We've taken him through regular obedience, through one of these. The puppy manners came from the Humane Society. They offer that. The dog trainer in the area was offering, sit and stay and all that crap. We took him there. Now, I will say, we didn't take him there to learn sit and stay. She'd already handled that. She's a phenomenal dog trainer. But we took him there so that he would be around people and nervous, out of control dogs, and he would still learn to obey those basic commands in that situation because dogs are very situational. So we're in the class and they're using him as the what your dog should be doing for all the other people there. But we took him and got him his certification or whatever for finishing the class for puppy manners, the regular sit and stay obedience class. And then we put him in, he's done training. He knows his commands. We've already taught him everything he needs to know. And up to this point, my wife is not sick. She is not medically disabled at this point in her life. A tragedy is that there was an event and suddenly my wife is disabled and she uh, now has a very serious medical condition where she could pass out at any time in the public with no warning symptoms. Well, no warning symptoms that we can detect. But the dog detected it all by himself. Didn't have to be told, didn't have to be prompted. He knew something was wrong. His idea of letting my wife know was lay her flat on her ass by knocking her down. That's probably not a good way to let me know I'm about to pass out and fall down. Try something a little less vicious. So we had to train him how to let us know, because knocking us on our ass isn't the right way. But he already knew to alert. Out of all the fucking random stray dogs in the entire fucking world, this dog could identify my wife's illness when it was going to happen. Well, actually, right before it was going to happen. That's a miracle. So we worked with him and showed him how we wanted him to work with us. And he really liked learning. If he's not busy doing something or learning something, all dogs will find.
Oh, you still out there? Did I lose you? Hello. Yep, I guess he's gone. Are you still out there, Orange Cones? Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what happened. Something, his StreamYard just closed. That's
Well,
weird.
apparently it's on his end. We're doing fine.
Yep.
So all that and that dog ends up being the perfect dog anyway.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's not, and that's the reason I know he's a Rottweiler is I didn't know at the time, but when we started training to teach him what I needed him to do for me, one of the things that a lot of the people that you can self-train a dog for as a medically alert dog, or you can go to a training center and have them do it, or buy a dog. There's a lot of different ways, but it's expensive. But when I've trained dogs my whole life, so I can train behavior for a dog. That's fine. So one of the things that was recommended by someone, they said, well, find out what he's a mix of, because he was a stray dog at the pound, basically, when we got him. And we did a DNA test to see what he was, because that helps to tailor training. If you've got a dog with pointer in him, he's going to be, checking out the birds all the time. He's going to be distracted by that. If you've got a Labrador, he's going to get in your pool or your pond. Every breed of dog has their own little idiosyncrasies. So we got the DNA test back and it came back he's 100% Rottweiler. We're like, wow, really? Because he looks like a chunky Doberman or a really skinny Rottweiler. He doesn't really look like what most people think of as a Rottweiler. But unfortunately, the breed of dog, as what we know of as a Rottweiler now, for 50 some years has been bred in Europe with Mastiffs to make them larger and bigger and bonier and more muscled. So they have interbred them with Mastiffs. So if you do a DNA test on a purebred Rottweiler, it will come back that they've got Mastiff blood in them as well, which all dogs have been a mix of whatever over time. But for him, he's 100% Rottweiler. He just doesn't look it. He was neutered very early, so he didn't get all the hormones to make him muscular and that broad chest and the deep muscles and all that. He doesn't have that.
Well, I always say I don't believe in coincidence, but I do believe in divine appointment. And that just goes to prove it. The dog was exactly where he needed to be, with exactly who he needed to be with, all through a set of circumstances no one would have ever guessed could have placed him where he was at. How crazy is that?
I always thought it was funny because I don't remember who it was, but there was some dog trainer that had said something. It says you don't always get the dog you want, but you'll get the dog you need.
Nakoti, for some reason, thought maybe you had a Great Dane. I think she's talking to you.
Yeah, he came out of a Great Dane rescue, but it's the Great Dane rescue people, they would go to the local pounds and out of the kill shelters, they called them, and they would adopt out any dog that they thought had Great Dane in it, a mixed breed of something. And then if they had room in their foster care system, then they would just adopt a dog out that was just a large dog, because they knew that statistically the larger the dog is, the less likely it will be adopted at the shelters. Most people want a lap dog. They want a little cat-sized
So he
dog.
was just there by default because he happened to be the dog they had room for at that point,
Correct.
because he wasn't actually a Great Dane.
He's not. He just came out of Great Dane rescue and rehab. I think that's what the shelter's name was. That
Right.
they were having the adopt-a-thon at the pet store parking lot.
So, like I said, the crazy set of circumstances that had to happen for this dog to end up where he was at and who he was with, and it turned out to be perfect all along. And for someone, for this whole thing going on with the carrier, I don't know. Do you know this person? Did you piss them off somehow? Did you go shit on her front doorstep or something?
If I knew where she lived, I probably could do that. But no, I just
Well, I was just wondering because she seems to have a really, either that or you just busted her boss for not doing her job, and she just decided to go ahead and lie with it instead of taking her stripes.
That's exactly what it is. She got caught not doing her work, and then when it was complained about, when I had the nerve to show up at the post office, and they tried to exclude me from going into the post office, but I fought that enough to eventually the cops were called, and the cops didn't side with them and told me to take my dog and go packing. They said, no, you need to let her come in to deal with the post office issues that are going on. You can't exclude her because she has the dog. And a lot of people don't understand that about a service animal, but it would be the same thing as if I was blind and I had a guide dog. You're going to tell me I can't come in to the post office?
Right,
I had a business here locally tell me that I could come in and shop, but I need to tie my dog up to the handicap parking sign post.
Does he wear service animal, anything that says service animal? Does he wear a vest? Does he wear a sash? Anything?
I have a vest for him. I've had a couple of them, but generally, no, he doesn't wear it. If I go to some place that there's, for whatever reason, I know there's going to be a ton of people there, I'll put it on him for a while. But because he was hit by a car, that's how the pound eventually picked him up as a stray, and then the rescue group got him out of the pound. He was hit by a car, and he has a scar from the left armpit to the right groin, like a slash down his entire side.
So the vest rubs him, I assume.
It rubs him raw after a while, and I've
Right.
had it, and I've done a lot of stuff with horses as well, and I've done a lot of harness work. It just
is there-
rubs him raw.
I don't know, and I have to admit I don't know anything about having and operating a service animal for sure, but or being operated by one maybe. Is there any other way? Is there maybe a bandana you could tie around his neck? I don't know, that maybe it would say service animal. I don't know if there's anything else.
Oh yeah, he's got lots of gear like that I'll put on him. The leash that we use when he's out, like at a store, it says working service dog. Do not pet me. Do not distract me. Do not touch me. Whatever. There's different ones. They're all the same.
So it says that on the leash.
On his leash, correct.
Okay, that's what I was asking. That's what I was wondering, if there was something there for me to see that.
Yeah, federally, there's no requirement that they be marked in any way, but I do mark him when I take him out in public, where pets aren't not going to be allowed, just so that it's clear to the store and to the public that he's not there to be pet and played with. I've had people that will read the leash and it says working service dog, do not pet me. And then he has like a little like a patch you would put on a vest, but it's just attached to his collar that says I'm working, don't distract me. Big like a 3x5 index card size.
Right.
But people will read that out loud. And then it says, working service dog, don't distract me. Working service dog, don't pet me. Can I
Did they
pet
say, can I pet it? Sounds like people.
It's like, no. And the funniest story I ever had is when I was at a Target grocery store, Target store. I was looking at the shoes. And this lady read everything and then said, can I pet him? And her grandson, who was standing there with him, he was probably like 5 or 6. They were holding hands, and he takes a hold of her hand with his other hand to hold both of her hands on her hand and pulls her back and says, no, Nana, it says no. So the child taught the grandmother not to pet the dog. And I saw him a few hours later, and I whispered to him, thank you. And he says, I learned that in school. So
a funny service dog story I have. I was walking through it was one of the department stores. It was either Meijer or Walmart, something like that. It's been a long time ago, and it was in Columbus. And this older gentleman who looked like he was probably in his late 60s, maybe early 70s, a blind gentleman, has a huge, beautiful, I mean, this dog, she is absolutely perfect German Shepherd, one of the most beautiful German Shepherds I'd ever seen. And as I'm walking past, I look down at her, and she just glances up at me as she's scanning the room, and goes on passively. And I said, you are beautiful. And he snapped his head to me, and he said, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Did you see how pretty my dog was? And of course, that broke the ice right there. So I had a long conversation. But
I've used that line at Tractor Supply once with someone. I was waiting. APIC was in line to pay for whatever we were getting, and I was waiting at the end of the register area to leave the store, put the cart back, and was waiting there to leave the store. And the guy in front of him that walked by says, oh, my, aren't you just the most beautiful thing? And I told him, I said, well, thank you, but I'm married. He that way it did kind of break the ice, and we talked about the dog, and that's fine. And that's the thing is I'm very cognizant of that. Not everybody likes dogs. He's not out there to be friends with everybody. He's not out there to play with people. He doesn't seek their attention. He doesn't walk up to you and jump up and down and want you to pet him, because when he's working, he knows he's working, and that's it. And if I see someone in the public, like at the grocery store or whatever, if I see someone and they seem fearful of the dog and they've got to walk by where I am, I'll have him lay down, or I'll have him sit and come in front of me and sit so that he's looking right at me and not paying attention. So it's not that he doesn't need to be put in a different position, but it assures the person that's afraid of a dog, it assures them that the dog is under control, that he's not going to come over to you. And I've had people say, thank you, I'm afraid of dogs, as they walk by, because they realize that I've demonstrated to them and put them at ease that the dog's not going to hang out with them. That's not what they're there for. That's not what
There are dogs who obey their masters. They're well trained, and they do what they're told. They actually exist, guys. I've seen them. And
he loves to do what's right. He gets joy out of that, which is, Terry, from having a working breed of dog in your home as well. Dogs that are working dogs, they need a job and want a job and feel
absolutely.
I've had people say, well, oh, you're mean because you make him work. And it's
he wouldn't know what to do with himself.
I said, I fulfill him by giving him a job. He wants to work. There's nothing that pleases him more than when he comes to me and alerts to me, and I check my sugar, and yes, I'm dropping low, and I have to take medication and take, proper steps so I don't pass out. And he'll just sit there and wait, and it's about 10 minutes later. So later, then he lays down and sighs like, okay, it's passed, it's done. I saved the day. I don't have to worry now. I'm good. And a lot of it is that it's a working line breed of dog, but a lot of it is the fact that dogs they make a symbiotic relationship with people. And it's like his thing is he was a starving stray when he was found as a stray dog. He was very underweight. His thinking is, oh my God, the one that feeds me, something's wrong. Let's get her better so that she can get my kibble. That it's not a love thing in the way humans think of love. I think he does have affection for me, but it's a self-preservation thing for the dog. He knows where his food bowl is getting filled from, and I think that's a lot of the training that I've done with him. Is he knows that I'll take care of whatever needs to be taken care of.
He knows that you've got his back. Therefore, he has yours.
And it's just like, I mean, I know you and I have talked about dogs in general, that that you say something to Della's dog, and Della's dog is like, yeah, whatever. But she says,
Right.
snaps her fingers and says, hey, sit down, whatever, and it's done.
Right. Well, if I tell her dog to do something, her dog will then look at her
Yep.
as if to say, do I have to?
Confirmation.
So yeah, like she don't really give a shit what I say, but she will take the time to ask mom and make sure,
Exactly. And it's the same thing the dog does with me. If Apic tells him to sit, he's like, whatever.
I better have a donut in my hand.
And mind you, this all started over kitty litter on this end of it.
His name was Coupon for a few days.
This started over a coupon for kitty litter. What a story. And the way the dog happened to be where he was at just at the right time to come home, to go out for kitty litter and come home with a dog. Did you ever get kitty litter that day?
No, it was the next day. We had to wait. We were too busy shampooing carpets.
Here's where I was going with that, is that, after the training, dogs will find something to do. It's never going to be something like, good dog, glad you found that. It is never going to be that way. If you leave a dog to his own designs, to find his own things to entertain him, your life is going to be shit, because you're going to be cleaning up stuffing. You're going to be cleaning up poop that he pooped out stuffing. You're just going to find things are not right. So you have to give a job to a dog that it's something for them to do to keep them motivated, activated, and energized, but it's something that you're not going to be like, oh, crap, I got to clean up another puddle of puke. You have to give them things to do. And we had gotten to the point where he had all of his commands. He had all of that. So we said, well, let's put him back in training. We had a long conversation about it. We thought about agility. We thought about a lot of things. But we decided to do AKC specifically, their obedience training. And we put that dog in that training, not because he needed to learn how to obey, but because it gave his brain something to do. So we put him into that training course, and we put him into the AKC ring to learn from the professionals that you see on television. Those guys. How can we better shape our dog, better enjoy our dog? But mostly we're there for the hell of it, between us and the dog. Nothing to do with those people.
But understand that a trained dog, see, the thing is you're teaching the dog how to communicate with you, right? You're not just training the dog to a command. Over time, with more commands and more language. I know there's probably some people out there in the chat, I know I've seen them, dogs who just seem to do whatever you tell them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they can understand intention or how it works, but after a while they learn to communicate, and you learn to communicate with your dog if you try. Hunters have that relationship with their hunting dogs, don't they?
Oh, yes.
Why? Because they're workers. There's their job. It's what they do. They live for the hunt. Why? Because that's what they enjoy, and they enjoy all the rewards after.
I mean, I can take and hide something that he wants to play with, or toy or food or whatever it is, and I can tell him to go find it. And he knows what that means. That phrase means that means he's got something good that he needs to go find it, basically.
Right.
Go search for it. Well, he'll look around, and if he doesn't find it right away, all I have to do is glance toward where it is. he could see which way my eyes looked, and he'll run that direction. And people say, well, that's, you must have, pointed to it or leaned that way. No, I just have to look that way. Just a little quick dart of my eyes, and then look right back at him, and he's like, oh, and he'll run off exactly where it is and go find it, whatever it was. That's what the dog has learned, to be in tune with me, to understand that if he doesn't get what he's supposed to do, that I'll help him to find the right outcome. And that's one of the things that you really have to work with the dog to do that. And that's the hardest thing, because when we were talking about the scent detection work, and whether the dog's alerting on a scent or not.
Right.
If you have to be diligent about working with the dog so that you don't give him a clue, or she, or whoever, the dog, you don't give them a clue as to what something is, because the dog has to find it on his own. We can't smell it. They've got to find it. They've got to smell it and find whatever it is. And they can smell something that was there. So they can falsely alert. It's not really a false alert. They are alerting to what they smell, but we just don't find, a big enough chunk of whatever it is we're looking for. But unfortunately, if the handler is not well versed in dog behavior and trained well, then they're not going to understand that and be able to not give the dog a clue about whatever it is. The funniest thing that I ever had with my dog when I was working with a trainer when we were doing scent detection is she set up a hide area in this field alongside of a building. So a huge building, a government closed down from COVID, whatever building at the time. And he had his, his favorite, little hot dog treats that he just loved. And he would just go anywhere for one of those. So I told him to look for the scent, and he sniffed around. He found the scent. Now, I didn't know where the scent was, but he knew where it was. And the trainer, of course, knew, but she's a trainer of people, not trainer of dogs. So she knows not to give the dog a hint. And she's, 20 feet away, hanging behind where we are. We're searching. So he finds the odor, and she cues me, yes, that he found it, so that I don't reward him for not finding it if he didn't really find it. So I gave him the cookie. That was fine. He was happy. Well, he ate about a little chunk of it and then spit it out, and then ran up the side of the building, like 20, 30, 40 feet away. And I said, what's going on? And she said, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. When I tell you, you jackpot him, you give him as many of those cookies as you can throw out. And I said, okay, but I don't understand this, but we're in a moment. Let's just do it. So he finds another place that she'd hidden the scent. And I gave him 5 or 6 cookies, and he ate them, and he was so happy. It's just, that was the first time that he got it, that the game is not just to find the scent to get the cookie. The game is to find the scent that became its own reward. And that's what this dog, unfortunately, that's the canine dog, doesn't have. He's not trying to find the scent, and that's reward for him. Now, of course, you're going to play with him and have a tug toy game afterwards. That's fine. But it's not ingrained in him that the reward is finding a scent.
The toy and the play is the reward. The scent, right. Whether he finds one or not, is irrelevant.
That's the way it is with him now, and that's not the way it should be. Because right. I can take my dog's favorite food, the cucumber chunks, right? I can take his favorite food, and I can throw them all over my driveway. And then I can hide scent in 2 or 3 places, and he will stand and walk over his favorite food, knowing it's there. But his reward is to find the scent. As soon as he finds the scent, then he can have his reward. And as soon as I tell him yes, he found the scent, he'll spin around and go and pick up every bit of the food that I left. But he's not going to get it ahead of time, because in his mind, he can't get it. He can't have it. He can't access it until he finds the scent and tells me that he's found the scent. So,
right.
And it's not narcotics, because I'm not a police dog handler person. I don't have access to that kind of stuff, but it's other scents that they're trained to find that are unique in their environment. You don't find birch oil, which one of the scents is the essential oil. You don't find that in your house normally. So
right.
It's fun to train a dog, and when it clicks and they understand it, that dog has the potential, being a Malinois, he's got a potential of being a great canine, but unfortunately he's got in my opinion, a dummy handling a leash. Sorry.
But
Well, I don't want to get too far off our story onto the dogs and training dogs and go too far on a tangent here. Um, I really do want to get back to the meat of this original story, and
right,
I
but
want to try to make sure that I understand exactly what happened.
well,
You had
here's the thing though. This dog has been trained traditionally. He's been trained specifically to her medical need. Uh, he naturally alerted to it. That's, you can teach a dog how to do that, even if he hadn't naturally alerted. But he did, and that saved us a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of heartache and money. Uh, but then he went on to do AKC ring sports. He went on, when he got too old to do the jumps. We put him into scent detection work, and he's gotten awards that dogs that have been doing it for years didn't get. He has done amazing things. This is one amazing dog. So if he's in the yard within 10 feet of my wife, this is not a dog who's going to chase a male bitch down the street barking, yapping, and grumping. This is a dog that even if he did do that, even if for some reason he looked at this person and said, "Ooh, rabbit," all my wife would ever have to say is heel or down, and the dog would drop immediately. That's in the trainings we give him. So I don't understand how being locked inside the house and manage to bark because somebody's on the property is a problem. I just can't make that leap.
well, I can't either. So apparently, um, from what I understand, now there's one of two ways, as I said earlier, that this can go. Either Orange Cones has just totally pissed this lady off in personal life for some fucking reason, went and shit on her front step or something, or she got popped not actually doing her job. And rather than saying, "Yeah, I fucked up, I should have done it, and I'll do it from now on," she decided to make it look like you two are liars and fucks. And because of that, she's kind of tainted that chain of command already, as to what a preconceived notion of who you are or what your dog did. Apparently, it went from just barking inside the house to it bit her at some point, according to a really high up person, or supposedly high up person. So apparently, this story just keeps morphing as it goes, doesn't it?
The thing that got me is when I actually talked to the postmaster at the post office about the latest incident after I was waiting in the corner for an hour and 15 minutes or so. When I did actually talk to the postmaster, who then said, "Oh, well, that guy Mark you're supposed to talk to, he hasn't been here all day. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why you were coming down today." So that was the idiocy of that. I asked her, "Well, what is it that my dog has done to the carrier?" And she goes, "Well, the dog keeps approaching her and coming out when she's delivering mail." And no, ma'am, that has not happened. And she says, "Well, you're going to have to provide me video proof that it hasn't happened." How do I prove a negative?
Well,
You
how does the mail carrier prove that it did happen?
Right. And that's what I said to her. I says, "Yeah, I've got video camera surveillance, you know, the home security system. So you tell me the date and time that this happened, and I will pull the footage up an hour before and an hour after and bring it down to you. Because it hasn't happened. Period. I can't prove a negative by giving you footage of everything in my yard for the last week, and then you'll just scan through everybody that drove by my house. What is the possibility of that? What are you going to actually sit and watch 24 hours of videotape of this lady driving by? You tell me when and where the dog was anywhere near her, and I'll show you proof that he wasn't. But when he's in the house if he was out there with me, he wouldn't bark at her. I'd leave him on the porch and go get my mail, but he's not. He's in the house. And when he's in the house, yeah, he's going to bark. That's what dogs do. The owner's left. Now I'm in charge of the house. I hear something. I don't know what it is. Bark, bark, bark. That's just dog. I don't care what kind of dog it is. Any dog is going to do that. So I
So
can't
basically, you
understand
had
why she feels the dog is going to run and bust through a wall.
ordered or had a package coming for whatever reason. The mail carrier, for whatever reason, the day that it's posted out for delivery, and you know it's coming, decides not to stop. They drive by, do their thing, and this is how this entire thing got started, right?
Yep.
And it went from that to you actually going to the post office. And rather than them just handing you your fucking package, they decided to discriminate against you because of your dog. You can't have your dog in here. We don't give fuck foot service animal. Fuck you. You can't come in. To calling the police on you, only to find out that the police had to inform them that it's actually illegal what they're trying to do.
Yep.
So at some point, they actually let you inside the building, tell you to wait over there, and so is who you're waiting on. And then, after being there forever, you hear them making snide remarks about you because they think it's funny because they've made you wait, knowing very good and damn well that the person they've told you that you're standing there waiting on ain't even fucking there today. They know for a fact this person's not there to meet you and that you're meeting no one. They're just seeing how long you'll put up with it and stand there.
Yep. Exactly that.
That has got to be the craziest post office story I have ever heard. It really is. That's the craziest thing to come from. You expect some weird shit to come out of like Burger King and stuff, but like the post office, that is crazy
But then for them
stuff.
to call us from the regional district office and tell us on the phone that the answer is kill the dog.
Is to
then they'll
euthanize the
deliver
dog,
mail.
right? Right. You euthanize your dog, and we'll make sure that you get your mail tomorrow.
That's
Right.
the ultimatum we were given.
I was half jokingly thinking about it, but I said I'll get him to play dead because he'll do that for a food. And then take a picture of him and say, "Look, he's dead."
Right.
But he doesn't have that much time. I mean, he's considered geriatric at this point in time, so he's not out except to take a pee, and that's it. He's not lingering. And if he's out taking a pee, guess who's standing like 5 feet away from him? Me.
Right.
I don't open the door and just let him run outside.
Who decides that these shits have that much power over the individual lives of people?
Well, apparently they do.
There's got to be 100 dogs on this block. Who the fuck do they think they are to tell you to kill your dog in order to get your mail?
Well, apparently this person was informed that your dog had viciously bit someone, and they're wondering why you haven't turned it over to be put down yet. From what I understand, I don't know why that person would believe that from the story that actually transpired, but apparently this person, I assume, if they left you a message like that, apparently they must believe this is the most vicious dog, and it must have seriously hurt someone.
That has to be the case. I agree. But even if it was the most vicious dog, have some goddamn composure when you call somebody. Don't tell them to kill their dog or they're not getting mail. That's not our government. That's not how that shit goes down.
I don't know how easy or difficult it might be for you to make a call to an attorney and ask about, because maybe you guys can look it up, because I'm not very good at that. But to find out if you can FOIA request something because she had to file some kind of fucking report if this dog bit her, right? I mean, if they're going to refuse to deliver your mail, surely there's something on file somewhere about something. And if someone that high up decides your dog needs to die because of what it did, then apparently there is a fucking report filed, yes?
I would think so. And that was the thing. I couldn't find anything on their website anywhere whatsoever about how to FOIA that kind of information. I did find that they have some public tools. It's very interesting because the list of district managers is on the website. It's 10 years out of date. But they have a tool. You can go click on it and say, well, who is my district manager, and put in your little zip code. That tool does not work. It truly just does not work at all. Even if you put in one of the districts that should hit a jackpot, it just doesn't. But there were some other links I could follow that would get me to interesting information, like who is my postmaster. And that is how I found Tricia's name, because she wouldn't identify her little self. And then I was able to look up the salary for this district manager in Raleigh, who is in charge of the whole shebang but won't come to the phone. Turns out, if you're a district manager at the post office, you can clear $202,000 a year, which is about 239 times higher in pay than the people who are carrying the mail.
So they're paid well not to give a shit what happens with you.
They are extremely well paid to not answer your questions and not come to the phone. Those are the guys raking in the bucks.
Well, they're obviously much too busy to talk to the likes of us. We're just peasants. You know, it's like the king. He's got a lot of people to talk to, right? They must be so busy.
Oh, absolutely. And so I was able to FOIA some information, but the only way to get that information is if they have a half-ass sort of working tool linked on their website. If you call OIG, you call legal, you call corporate headquarters, well, it's not corporate, but the government version of the Washington actual post service. It doesn't matter what number you're dialing. They don't want to hear from us peasant shits. We are not worthy of their time, and they will not come to the phone to discuss this.
And you know what the worst part of this whole thing is, and I'm taking a guess, and I could be totally wrong at the end of the day. I'm just from the outside looking in. It seems to me that one person told a very big fib, and then rather than admitting that they didn't do their job, they decided to lie more, or at least allude to the fact. And then later these higher ups think that, like, they're just wondering why your dog isn't destroyed yet. That's all they're waiting on. They're just waiting for you to get yours. And probably that's what they have. Somehow she's managed to taint that. And like these people, I don't know, that may, it doesn't make it right. I'm just trying to understand the chain of events,
Without a phone number that actually gets to a person who actually answers, who really listens, how the fuck do you fight back?
Right.
What do you do? There's nobody at the other end. I might as well shout into my pillow, "You didn't do anything wrong." It's not going to make any difference. They won't take the time to give a fuck. They would rather steamroll over our individual rights than even look into it.
Kind of sounds like Big Daddy government all the way, and they wonder if the post office has anything to do with Big Daddy, huh?
Amen.
They're going to be sorry that this Rottweiler that I have now, who doesn't look like much of a Rottweiler to most people, and honestly, if you were to come up to my door and he's barking behind the door and you stomp your foot, he'd probably back up and go lay down. That's just the way he is. He doesn't have there's no bite behind that bark. And if you understand what I'm saying, not that any dog could bite, but he just doesn't have it in him he doesn't have the confidence to do anything like that. He wouldn't. He can't. He doesn't have that ability. But they're going to be pretty upset at the next dog, because the next dog is going to be a Belgian Malinois. So they should be happy that they got the wimpy Rottweiler for right now.
Well, it sounds like somebody that just decided to lie rather than just do their job is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like they got caught one day not doing their fucking job, rather than saying, yeah, I fucked up, or trying to make up some decent lie. They decided to make it all about your dog, and now they've 100% committed on it and won't back off. It sounds like silliness.
They're like a dog with a
Silliness.
bone, but not.
Well, it's more that chilly mentality that I'm 10 fucking years old and I'm so worried about right now that what's wrong with me and fuck you, no matter what's going on in your life. They just need somebody to jerk them up, and bust their ass. That's what they need. You know, some of these people just need to be snatched up by the neck and just bent over a knee and have their ass busted like they're 2 years old and told what they did wrong and make them go out and do better. Come and apologize to the people they wronged and go out and do better. I don't know. My parents and grandparents were like that. You know what I mean? If I did something wrong to somebody, my dad snatched me up, swat my ass, and then make me go apologize right then and there.
Yep.
Right?
I
You
remember
know?
I remember having to go to several neighbors' houses as kids, and
Right.
and the parents would hang back at the edge of the sidewalk, and you had to walk yourself to their front door, knock on their door, and say you were sorry.
Absolutely. You got to go man up or woman up, whatever it is you got to do, but you better do it. You better
Yeah,
go do it. You better apologize and you better make sure that you're good with these people and that they're good with you. Because if they're not, you're going to have to do something else. You know?
So, for everybody listening, there are two key phone numbers. Well, three. I'm sorry, three phone numbers. I would beg you to call. Uh, the first is the Parkwood Post Office here in Wilson. The phone number is 252-237-1403. We need to let them know that this is inappropriate behavior, and that your carriers can't lie about dogs, make a problem with an individual citizen, refuse to do their job, and then shame and blame the handicapped person for all of the bullshit just because they want to. That won't fly.
Right. But remember, if you do decide to call and you do decide to have a conversation with somebody, don't be a dick.
Yeah,
You can do this, but don't act like you're the fucking king because you're not. You don't own the fucking post office. We the people do. You're one of us, but you are not us. So don't try to act like they're your slave. You know what I mean? Treat
yeah,
them with as much respect as you can while you're having that conversation. Don't call just to be a dick. If that's all you're going to do, don't fucking call. You're not helping the situation. Don't do that.
exactly. The
Sorry,
other
APIC. I
number,
didn't.
no, I agree 100%. We only kill them if we do it with kindness.
And within the law,
For
all we're
all
doing is
the
asking them to do their job. We're not
for all the
above and beyond.
vinegar they give you, give them back sugar. It's truly the only way to win. The other number is this is amazing. This is the actual Washington D.C., the head of the entire United States Postal Service, part of our government, USPS.gov, right? This is .gov. This is government. Their number is 202-268-2284. And the person you want is the senior vice president of operations. But I absolutely tell you, they're going to block your number. And that is, again, part of the problem. Your government should not block we the people and shut us out. That is unacceptable behavior. Well, you're a member of the public and you're not calling to tell me I did a great job. Click, you can never call me again. That is not acceptable. I don't
It's not exactly the best complaint chain of command, is it?
know. Well, hold on. Orange Cones is trying to guide me on how to put it in the regular chat. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Well, now I'm lagged to myself. That's crazy. What have you done to me, Orange? There's that. And then there's
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to take a second and say hello to some people in the chat. Hello, Nakoti, good old boy, Bill 187, Della Perry, Chris V, Roseanne Mossman, Debos Nation, Blanche Bowles, Dirty Old Man. I don't know if I said Nakoti, but there she is. That's all I see at the moment, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I know there have been other people in and out, and I apologize. This isn't a show where I was able to keep up with the chat there. Did you get what you needed to in the chat, sir? Are
Yeah,
you
I
still
think.
with?
Yeah, he put the phone numbers in there.
Okay, all right. So, do you guys have anything left to say on this issue tonight?
Don't send us any mail.
Well, if you do, you better put it in a box and ship it FedEx, huh?
Exactly. UPS likes us too, so that's good.
There you go. You know, that's one thing I have to say about the UPS driver here. He's actually taken stuff and put it in the shed before because it was raining and it wasn't locked. You know, it's just there, and he, opened it up, set it in the shed. Really, really nice guy. Always goes above and beyond. I
ordered a special light for a fish aquarium hood that
Mhm.
was to help grow live plants that I needed to grow when I lived in Iowa. And I heard the UPS guy, the brakes, when they're squealing on those big trucks. I heard that he was there, so I went out to get the light, and he didn't even stop the van. He just slowed it down and threw it over the fence into our front yard.
Well, there you go.
big old fragile, handle with care light bulb, 4.5, 5 foot long light bulb.
Wow.
Needless to say, we had to reorder it, but manufacturer said they were sorry and they would make sure they notified the carrier that it was fragile. I guess marking it fragile on all the sides of it wasn't enough.
Right. Well, maybe he thought that said fragile. Maybe it was Italian.
I think maybe it meant, and that translates to toss with one hand like spear.
Right. Yeah, you don't even have to hit the brakes, just throw the damn thing out the window.
And he slowed down enough because the light had just changed. There's a red light there on the corner. The light had just changed. So he had to slow down enough to not hit the car in front of him. But then once the red light was going, he just chunked it.
Right. All right. So the numbers are out there, guys. You've heard the story. I'll leave it up to you to decide what you think about it personally. I think that it shows the reason that I talk about standing united, the reason I talk about we, the people, coming together. And instead of arguing with each other, we stand together for the betterment of all of us, because we thought that's what government was supposed to do, that they were supposed to stand for the betterment of all of us. And although they claim to, they don't have my 100% confidence. And I'm pretty sure that the average American out there like me feels the same way. I'm not saying it's the worst country in the world. What I'm saying is the reason things are screwed is because it's our fault. We're not doing anything about it. We're sitting back and taking it, So we absolutely can win this war, but we can only win it as we, the people. We can only win it united. And we can only win that when we decide to come together, that we've had enough, and we don't have to, it's not about starting a fucking war. We don't have to fire a shot. It's not about that. We already have that. That's the reason our Constitution was written the way it was. We, the people, we already have that. We already have all the power, but that requires us to grow up, mature, and become that responsible, constitutional we the people and act like that. That's my idea. I know I'm a little guy with big dreams, guys, but it's got to start somewhere. It's got to start somewhere, and why can't it start with us? APO, are you still with us out there?
Yes, sir. I've been trying to get my mic to unmute for the past 30 minutes. It just now unmuted.
You having problems with it, are you?
Yeah, well, I was going to tell Orange Cones, that I was just wondering if they threw Sarah Jen over, because I FedExed her Sarah Jen. I was just wondering if they're going to throw her over the gate too.
Oh, there went Orange Cone. She slipped out.
She got Sarah Jen. She left.
Let me quickly say hello to Princess LDG and Logan Sam, man. I seen them pop in there, and I see Dark Watch again. Hello, Dark Watch. Debo Station, just want to make sure I said hello to everybody best I can. APO, sir, what do you think about this story tonight?
I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I think it's plumb horseshit. You got lazy motherfuckers don't want to do their job. I'm just gonna call it how it is.
I pushed the wrong button. Sorry about that, Eugene.
I see how it is. Sarah Jen's out in your yard, ain't she?
I didn't get a package because we don't have a fence here from FedEx, but they did leave me a door tag saying that they were sorry that they missed me, and I had to sign for the package. So they're going to try again tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering. I mean, hell, they're throwing everything else over the fence. I was just wondering if they threw Sarah Jen over the fence too.
Well, we do have a garden shed in the back where the lawnmower and stuff is. So once she gets here, I'll move the lawnmower under the carport and she can stay there.
No. I think you need to build her like a smaller dog house. I think that's just too convenient.
Well, it's pretty crowded, except once the lawnmower's out, she can lay where the lawnmower was.
Right.
Hey, there you go, guys out there in the chat. Sean DeLong says we can't worry about how sensitive they are. They have a job to do. Do it.
Yes.
And I agree. If you can't do it, then you should quit that particular place of employment and go seek your occupation elsewhere. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I agree. I think if you, again, if I am, terrified, absolutely terrified by the grinding sound of a metal grinder, don't work in a metal shop. It's time for me to look for a career in a grocery store or something else.
Right.
Not on the employer to make me feel comfy in the environment doing something I can't do. It's not on them. And it doesn't matter if that employer is public, private, government. It's not up to us, we the people, to coddle somebody who can't do the job.
Right.
If they can't do it, then get them out. Put in someone who can. It's nonsense to think that we owe them a paycheck to not do the job. If I went into Kroger's and said, well, I absolutely can't handle carrots. If there's a carrot in the store in the cart, I won't work in that aisle.
Right. Simple childish stuff. I'm going to throw a link out there. That's for Debo's Nation. He wants to test his mic. He got a new setup and wanted to know if it was working. So I'm going to throw the link out there so I can bring him up here and we can see if his mic works here before we get out of here for the evening. But yeah, you're right. I learned that as a fast food manager. If I'm in a burger joint and you can't seem to make a fucking burger, then you need to go work elsewhere, because we do that. We make burgers here. If you can't make a taco, then you need to go elsewhere, because that's what we do here. We make tacos. If you can't deliver mail, then you need to go work elsewhere, because that's kind of what we do here at the post office. We tend to fucking deliver mail. It's, our job's kind of based on it. So not much different than Burger King, only it sounds like you can't have it your way.
Well, Nakoti, yeah, we have reached out to the news. Unfortunately, the news has changed, and they'll only take the government side. You cannot say anything bad about your government and get it put on the news. They will not do it.
What do you say, Debo? Is your mic working tonight?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. How do I sound?
Listen to how beautiful that voice is. Did everybody hear that, eh?
I have never heard a more sexy female voice. Wait a minute.
What the hell's going on here? Am I on the right station? Is this after
You
dark?
sound. I'll tell you what. You are loud and clear, and that mic sounds great, man.
Sure does.
Well, that's good. So we're ready for tomorrow night.
Oh, hot damn! I'm glad you got that all worked out, and it'll be 6 p.m. Yes,
Yes, same as yours.
guys. Don't forget 6 p.m. Eastern time. The road show, Conspiracy Music, makes its way back to Debose Nation tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. I know I'll be there. Debose will be there. Queen will be there, and I'm sure quite a few others will be there. I know a lot of the artists will be popping in and out of the chat like they usually do. Come over and hang out with us for a while, guys. It's going to be a great time.
We also have a special guest that'll be showing up to do a live performance for everybody as well.
Oh, there you go. Even having a special guest. Look at that. Give y'all a little mystery to come and see.
For sure.
Well, I know I can't wait to see you there, sir. And it's of course it's Saturday.
Is there any
so
lag
after,
in my mic?
No, it sounds great, man.
Yeah. Okay. Just
It
checking.
sounds 100% great day out here, man.
I know Eugene thought that was Sarah Jen coming in, but
I know. I just couldn't help it. I couldn't help
Maybe.
it. Orange cones done stole my fantasy.
Maybe he was hoping it was Sarah Jen
I don't
coming
go
in,
that way. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
right?
no, not at all.
Sarah Jen.
I would never disgrace that picture of that bull like that. I would never do that.
Hey, guys out there in the chat, give us a 5x5 if Debo sounds good to you tonight.
Thanks, Savio.
Just so he can be reassured how it sounds out there, because it sounds good to me here. But since you guys are out there on YouTube and we're back here on StreamYard, give us a 5x5 out there in the chat if Debo sounds clearer tonight. I think you sound great, man. I think that mic's working good.
Hey, Terry, I had a question before I jot off.
Yes, sir.
When you're driving, are you still able to run StreamYard, or is that something you have to be at the house to do?
No, I use StreamYard. See, I used to just hit within YouTube, just hit the go live button, right? But
Right.
the problem was the chat would just quit working. And I would never know. Eugene was with me. You'd never know when it might be 30 seconds into a stream. It might be 2 hours. You just never knew. It just quit working. And I wouldn't notice until I drove for a while and no one said anything. And I would have to literally stop the stream, turn my phone off, turn it back on, set up another live. And there were some nights I did 5 or 6 of those. And I just got so tired of that I finally just used StreamYard. And the reason I do is because even if it takes a minute for the chat to come in, sometimes I might get 10 or 12 of them at a time, because like I must be hitting a dead spot somewhere, but at least StreamYard makes sure that I get those chat messages in. You know what I mean? I don't lose the chat. And on my channel, I don't have a channel. We have a channel. That's why we come here, because we all love hanging out with one another. It's not really because of me. I'm not the star of the show. You guys are. So for me, StreamYard was a necessity, and that is what I use when I'm out, though.
So is it possible to loop in someone from backstage while you're still streaming the driving? Does that work?
I'm sure I could. I just have to send somebody the invite link.
Okay.
It should theoretically work exactly on the road as it does
driving,
here.
though.
Well, I may not be able to
Can you do it
run
when
it
you're
like a
driving?
fucking studio, no. Well, not while I can pull over Debo.
Well, once you pull them in, you shouldn't need to. I think from there you just autonomously do your thing, and they can.
Yeah. You just see what my camera saw and whatever their camera saw, just like us right here. Be the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'll talk about that later. How that's important. All right. But thank you everyone for listening to me whine about our problem. But it is just unthinkable that we have reached a point where I get safety. I get it. Okay. But the police are facing down people with guns in their hands or knives.
Right.
postal carriers are afraid of your fucking cat and your fucking dog who's locked inside your house who happen to have the audacity to bark. That is what is in their mind infringing on their safety. Have we reached that low of a level? They fucking hear your baby cry, then god dang it, they can't deliver to your house because they're afraid of babies? Come on, folks, where do we draw the line? How far down this rabbit hole are we going to let them shove us? It just can't keep going. So I really appreciate your listening. I beg you, call those numbers on Monday. Tell them this is not acceptable. We can't mollycoddle this nonsense and let them stop working for us because they just decide that they don't want to. We're paying for that.
Well, I appreciate you coming here to tell the story. You know that I agree with you that that something obviously needs to get done. And it's not that you didn't try. It's not you didn't follow the chain of command. They just don't give a shit. No one will hear it. No one will even take time to listen to the story to see whether anything actually happened or not. Sad but true. And I think we experience that, as I said before, in a lot of levels of government, from local all the way through. You know what I mean? All the way through to federal government. Not everything's perfect. I'm not saying every aspect of government is broken and we need just to get rid of it and get rid of police. I've never said any of that shit. What I do believe is that we, the people, can fix it all. That's what I believe. Oh, looks like we lost a pick there again. Orange Cones, do you have anything in finality to say this evening?
Oh, no, other than thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you for being part of our chat and always being out here to support us all. Thanks for being one of us. We appreciate you.
I just enjoy the chat. To me, it's like it's family more than just.
It's even therapeutic at times, isn't it?
Right, and a lot of times, you understand. Sometimes, okay, it's just driving around. You're not really seeing anything. So sometimes I'm not watching it, but I listen to it.
Right.
So I might be doing something, putting dishes away in the kitchen or whatever, but the phone is sitting on the counter and I'm listening to what's going on. And then if you say, "Oh, we have some cherries," and "Oh, wait a minute, put the dishes down," and I'll come and see what's going on. But otherwise, it's the talking that you do, and then going back and reading what people just said and answering questions or asking questions or just talking. To me, that's the fun part of the whole official channel of Ironton Auditor. To me, that's the whole fun of it.
Well, I'm glad that I can provide some entertainment. I'm glad I'm worth listening to for anywhere from 2 to 8 hours at a time. And I tell you what, a lot of times I wouldn't have nothing left to say if it wasn't for having APO with me. He helps fill in a lot of the dead air now too. He's getting to know the chat a little better and becoming a little more talkative with them, and of course a lot more joking with us. And Debosh, you sound great on that mic, man. So other than your music show 6 p.m. tomorrow night that we're all going to make sure we're there for, if somebody's got that link, or if you do, Debo, make sure you throw it in the chat out there so they know how to get to it. What's that?
That's 6 o'clock.
I'm sorry. 6 p.m. tomorrow night. We're all right. We're all going to be there 6 p.m. tomorrow night Eastern time for the Roadshow, Conspiracy Music's Roadshow on Debo's Nation, and I know I am anyway. Debo, do you have anything final to leave us with tonight?
No, just be kind.
I would like to take the time publicly, now that I have you here in voice, to say thank you to you, and I will thank Clay as soon as I'm able to speak to him. You guys rocked on my channel, and Eugene and I were having such bad weather we couldn't even stay logged in, and I couldn't even stay on my own channel. But you guys done a great job, and I just want to say thank you for having my back when I'm not there, man. I appreciate you. I truly do. I am grateful to you. Thank you so much, Debo.
Well, I think you too, because I might have to do the same thing, because it'll be my first time on live with my system. So if I start knocking out, you might have to save me.
Well, as long as Mother Nature don't kill me, I'll be there. We'll get her done. I guarantee it, one way or another. Hey, APO, you're still out there, I'm sure, right?
Yes, sir. I'm
Well,
here, brother.
as always, thank you for being my right arm and my partner in crime, so to speak. Sometimes riding that shotgun position, I appreciate it. Man, you got anything to leave us with tonight?
I just, damn. I just hate to hear Orange County's got to go through all that. That is crazy. That is just, yeah, that's crazy right now.
It's a
But,
tiny little thing turned into a big old mountain, didn't it?
all right. I mean, damn. I don't understand that. I mean, it's just lazy motherfuckers that don't want to do their job. That's all it winds down to. That's it. I'll
She
just
got
call it how it is. Hell with
got
it.
caught with her pants down, and that's the way it is.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So since they didn't have enough sense to do their job to cover their ass, now they're just going to plain lie to get it done. Sad but true. But then we kind of live in that world, and this younger generation, and sometimes the older one is exactly like that. They don't give a shit about anybody or anything. All they care about is what they have to do today, and any way they can make you pay the price so that they don't have to, they'll damn sure. It seems like they'll damn sure do it. Uh, as I say, it sucks, but it's true. Guys, you all know that I love each and every one of you out there. I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the ride tonight. I won't be going out auditing tonight, but I will tomorrow after Debo's music show. I assume you're going to go with me, APO?
Lost him.
Are you there, sir? Well, anyway, I assume he's going to be there. If not, I will be anyway.
Yes, I'm here. Man, my mic won't, I don't know what's going on.
Well, Debo's show runs from 6 to 10, so I wouldn't even come into town until 10. So that's what I was asking. You going to ride with me tomorrow night?
Oh, yes, sir. Hell, I'll ride tonight if you want to go tonight. It don't matter to me.
I'm too lazy to leave the house tonight, man. I'm already in. Della's made me a really nice dinner, and I'm going to be honest. I'm going to sit here and eat it.
Hey, you starting to act like them post office workers from Orange County.
Right. But anyway, guys, I will catch you all tomorrow evening, again, 6 p.m. To 10 on Debo's Nation for the Roadshow, Conspiracy Music. And after 10, I'll have to leave here and head to town, and I'll start a live on my own channel, and we'll do our normal thing. So, again, guys, I love you all. Thanks for being here. I'll see y'all for the moment. Ironton Auditor and APO out, and we'll catch you on the next run.